Hi everyone, I'm Rahul Talreja. I'm the product manager for the IoT application area. And today I'll be taking you through the AI agent manager topic. So I'll be also showcasing you a live demo of the same. So before we dive into the AI agent manager topic, let me start with a scenario that highlights why agentic applications are becoming important. So here I would like to take you through a scenario which I believe many of your operations team will recognize. So let's take this scenario. So assuming your engineer receives an alarm, and to understand what has caused that alarm and what to do next, they need to check a lot of relevant information on the platform. For an example, if the sensor reading is coming on the platform already shows a lot of related context for this sensor reading. For an example, it will already have the related metadata that what's the operating range of a particular sensor, let's say, and like if it's a temperature sensor, then what's the operating range of this temperature sensor, and then accordingly to which an alarm would have been raised. Now the operator which is looking into the alarms will need to go through a lot of information to identify the cause or the alarm, and then to take an action on that one. For an example, he will need to look for all the relevant events which occurred on this machine. They will need to check, let's say, the past incidents on this machine. They may need to go through the pump manual to identify the possible solution for an error and how to, let's say, make sure it doesn't occur again. So a lot of this needs to be done by the operator when they sees let's say, an alarm on the system. And importantly, they also need to go through the whole hierarchy of where this machine is exactly sitting and what would be, let's say, an outcome if they don't act on time. So if they miss responding, they may cause a downtime for the whole hierarchy, not to that specific machine only. And so when an alarm has occurred, the operator has to go through all these systems and like maybe different applications. When all this takes time, this slows down the response time. And because they have to manually go through all this, correlate, and then finally take an action. Now imagine if there was an AI agent which could access all this context, which is spread across multiple systems, like say many of them on your IoT platform, some in your ERP, some in your maintenance portal, and then bring that necessary information for your operator to take an action at the fingertips, and maybe even propose a solution already there. So which would have made things much more easier and would have provided a lot of value by helping you kind of resolve an issue much quicker than the traditional mechanism. So this is where we would like to kind of highlight that this is what Agent Manager enables you. So this Agent Manager allows you to easily build AI agents which can consume all the existing context and use it effectively. And a very important note before I proceed further. So all these context which I had just highlighted over here is something not created by the AI agents. This is something either already on the platform or either on your different systems. And at the end of this webinar, I will be also showcasing how do we help you get this context on the platform. Right. Now, to show you how we are making this possible, so let me now take a step further. So at Cumulocity, we have been always giving developers the powerful way for building their own solutions on the top of our platform. So until now, we had the Web SDK, which you used to build all your own UI applications. And then you had microservice hosting, where you used to kind of deploy your own microservice with your own backend logic. And these two have been our foundations until now, where customers have been using this to kind of customize and extend the solutions on our platform. But the way applications are being built has been changing. Now, agentic AI is becoming a core part of how solutions are working. And like we also know this because we are also already using it ourselves inside our own product features. And now we are bringing this to you. And so all the capabilities which we are trying to utilize in our applications, we are bringing to our customers in this form. So now the Agent Manager is the third building block. It sits alongside the Web SDK and Microservices SDK, and it gives your development teams a way to build agentic applications without having to worry about the underlying framework. Now also let me directly show you a demo and then come back to a few important points. So as we initially highlighted that the Agent Manager is currently in the public preview. So in your administration application, if you have the relevant tenant administration role, you will be able to notice this Manage Preview button. You can simply go over here and activate the Agent Manager directly. Once you activate the Agent Manager, will come to a UI like this, where you will first need to kind of configure the provider. So here, the control of which provider is choose is on you. You can directly select any of the provider which we have in the list, and simply add the relevant name of the model and the key using which we can access that model. Once you kind of configure the required provider and the model, you can then start defining any agent. So for an example, if I add a new agent, I will be able to either create a text agent or an object agent, depending on your use case, you can choose one. So at the moment, I will be utilizing a text agent. When I try to kind of create an agent, so here starts the main part. Here I have an opportunity to define the system prompt. At the moment, I'll be copying one existing one. So I have a machine agent which helps me kind of go through all the devices, identify the alarms, and kind of provide me a summary of how can I kind of like which is the most important machine on which I need to make invest some time. So I just copied the system prompt. So this is the important part where you contribute the scenario, or let's say the way an agent should behave. And the next important part is toolings. So we have our own MCP server, which is kind of already available with Agent Manager, and you can also add any other MCP server as well. Once that is done, you can very specifically decide which tooling should be accessible to which specific agent. So with this, you control that the agent has access to only specific toolings, not all of them. And once I do that, then I can say that my agent is complete. So I've just created a very basic agent over here just to showcase that what goes into creating an agent. And then I can start, maybe I can use this agent at multiple places. So there are multiple ways I can use that. I can either use an agent in the UI application. Maybe I can use it in a chatbot, or I can use this AI agent in a microservice. So in a microservice, you can specifically request to kind of call an agent, and depending on the context you pass on, it will execute that. And there are, so at the later in the presentation, my colleague will also showcase a new streaming analytics block where you can call out the agents and also get them executed. So right now I have a prompt with me just to showcase you how this reply. So I'll be copying that prompt and testing this one. So here, instead of, so here, what I tried doing is I tried making a request to the AI agent to go through a specific type of machines in my tenant and give me the machines where I need to kind of provide in urgent attention. So this has access to the relevant toolings. It goes to kind of access the manage object list, try to fetch that, try to identify the type of device I have requested, and then try to get each of them separately. And once it gets all those equipments, it then goes through getting all the alarms. So it's like two separate calls. It went through the list, found out the list, and then went through the alarms. And once it finds all the alarms, then it's also kind of going to compare that which one of these needs an attention. And if possible, we can also put the relevant prompts in there, which can also help us summarize this and maybe possibly take us to kind of take some action over there. So now coming back to the presentation again. So this is how you can easily configure an kind of an AI agent, and then you can use at different sections on your application. Now, apart from this, we have been also asked a lot of time that why do we even kind of need to use the agent manager? Why can't we have our own agent frameworks? So with this AI agent manager, we have kind of brought this very closer to your IoT data. So that sits within our system where you can directly provide access to kind of all the IoT kind of APIs we already have. You do not need to kind of build your own agentic framework. You don't need to kind of look into all the security aspects. It's sitting very closer to the IoT platform, and it has access to the relevant data depending on like how you configure it. And the most important part over here is the kind of context engineering you are doing. So you are very specifically defining how an agent behaves using the system prompt, and you are very specifically deciding what access that specific agent has. So this is the main important aspect. And over the kind of last year, we have seen that a lot of development teams have invested time in kind of building their whole complex agentic workflows. But as soon as the next generation model came out, all that had to be re-engineered. But the most important part, which is the system prompts and the toolings, that remains the core. So this is what so this is what you make, and this is what is your IP. And yeah, and then you can as soon as the next model comes out, you don't have to kind of go and kind of rework the whole let's say workflow for your side. And this remains then unique to your business let's say use case. And let's say and until now you had this UI application and the microservices, and the third block, which is AI agents, that's also then remains unique to your kind of business use case. Now, before kind of handing over to my colleague, I would also like to make a last comment over here. So Agent Manager is a quite powerful tool that I think you can use it in many scenarios. But all the problems does not need an AI agent case. So AI agents are most valuable when operators needs to correlate a lot of information which is kind of spread across multiple systems, manuals which are kind of scattered across different systems, and then they make a decision. And if the answer already exists into us, let's say a single system, and it has a deterministic logic, then maybe you do not need an AI agent, because there you can already use our toolings like analytics rules, streaming analytics, which will be much faster and cheaper. So, and also for these simple and repetitive scenarios, we are already kind of, like say, already have strong capabilities, and our teams are also working on embedding, let's say, AI directly into those experience. So in short, use AI agents where you really feel that the information is scattered. You need some, let's say, faster context division decisions to be taken, and that's where you really need an AI agent. And so this is already in public preview, so you can already try this out. And if you have any use cases which you would like to discuss with us, and if you need some more guidance, then definitely reach out to us. And with this, I would now like to hand over to my colleague, Jane.